All right. With that said, we go from that to our main event segment. Oh, God, I love this. The Authority introduces everybody. First, Seth Rollins. They're like introducing the man that brought us back, Seth Rollins. Then with John Cena, it was introducing the man, that got used by Seth Rollins and decided to bring us back, John Cena. Then the Beast Incarnate, the champion, Brock Lesnar. And then, Ashton, you know what? I've really been in the driver's room most of the night. What did you think about Heyman and Seth's opening interaction here with this segment?
Well, what do you mean by the opening interaction?
Well, because, Heyman starts talking, right? And he talks about, like, how, he wishes he could take credit for bringing the Authority back.
And then Rollins being like, oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah. And then Heyman just being like, I wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... Dude, can I just say that in one night, Seth Rollins went from sniveling Authority golden boy who needs to cheat to win to having beaten John Cena and Brock Lesnar and having shut up Paul Heyman all in the same night.
I know, dude. I know. This was magnificent. Just to really set the scene for everybody. Heyman says, what's bad for John Cena is good for Brock Lesnar, and what's good for Brock Lesnar is best for business.
And he kept on going there, too. He said what's best for business is good for Paul Heyman.
Yeah. It's at this point that, as you noted, Ashton, Rollins tries to take credit. He says, oh, well, thank you, Paul. And it seems like they're going to do what they said, be on the same page, whatever. And Heyman says, I wasn't finished speaking yet. Yeah. And Heyman says, Lesnar has conquered everything in his path, and that will include what gets in his way at the Royal Rumble. And then Heyman says, now, Mr. Rollins, that's the end of my statement. And then I like Rollins here because rather than just letting it go and trying to patch it up and focus on Cena to keep this promising alliance intact, no, Rollins goes for broke. He says, oh, what's wrong, Paul? Are you upset that it's a triple threat match? And then Heyman says, yeah, I am upset because it could become a double cross. And then he brings up how Lesnar doesn't have...
Yeah. You really freaked out when he said double cross just because you think he's going to double cross Lesnar.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time. When Brock Lesnar was a gravy train back in 2002 and Heyman was riding that all the way to the freaking moon, who does he sell out for? The Big Show. Only to have him lose the title a month later. So I'd be careful where you put that knife this time, Paulie. Yeah, keep up with the gravy train, man, while you got it. But yeah, I could see Heyman turning on Lesnar if he sees things going bad and, I don't know, sliding something into Rollins or pulling the referee out when Lesnar's making a cover and just being like, I'm sorry, and Rollins capitalizing or something. I don't know. But, he does bring that up, does say that Lesnar doesn't have to be pinned or submitted to lose the title. But then, Rollins kind of, cuts him back off, and he brags about what he's done. He says, I orchestrated the Shield, I destroyed the Shield, and I am going to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And he prefaced all that by, cutting Heyman off and saying, I wasn't finished speaking yet. So you really see Seth find his spine, find his confidence, and really assert himself here.
Seth really held his own in this promo tonight, and for me to be able to say that about literally anybody who is involved in a promo segment with Paul freaking Heyman is absolutely massive praise.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to talk about massive praise, I will say right here, and we haven't even finished the brilliance of this segment yet, I was freaking out so much for Seth Rollins that when I really stopped and reflected on it, and I know, Ashton, you saw it, I know a couple other guys saw it, I wrote on Puitov, Seth Rollins is getting dangerously close. That special place of fandom, that place I reserved specifically for only two men in history, being Chris Benoit and John Morrison.
That place that you said Cesaro was in at the beginning of this year?
Here's the thing. The beginning of this year, here's the thing, though. I feel like with Rollins, he's just, for the longest time now, been so consistently good. Whereas with Cesaro, if I'm really being honest with myself, like, only his in-ring ability seems to really be impressive. Rollins really tonight proved to me that he's rounded himself out. He can do the in-ring. He's got the personality. He's got the charisma. Just such a standout performer. I'm telling you, the pops I've been giving him lately, I feel like have been on par with like my freakouts for Reigns last year. But I feel like he's not going to go off the rails. If anything, I only see Seth climbing higher. I cannot wait for when he finally does get his run with the world title, which is inevitable.
Yeah.
But he talks about that. Heyman goes to try and rebuke Rollins' statement there, but then Lesnar is the one that cuts him off.
I love that Lesnar. Dude, see, this right here is exactly why I have been clamoring for years now for us to have a champion who only wrestles at pay-per-views, and maybe not even every pay-per-view. How many times I said that about Del Rio and how much better that would have made him.
Yeah.
It makes it mean more when the rare thing happens. And in this case, we are so used to Paul Heyman being the only guy to talk that when you see Lesnar grab the mic, everybody shuts up and everybody pays attention. And he didn't even say anything super substantial, but the effect that him merely being in the possession of a microphone has on an audience, on the people watching at home, on everybody, is unmistakable. Because you can see, it's almost like people that, like, the hair on the back of their necks raise whenever Paul Heyman or Brock Lesnar grabs the mic. Because you'd never know what he's going to, because last time he talked, he said something like, it was the say something stupid, Paul. And it's like, you never know what's going to come out of this. And at one point earlier this past year, it was the blood, urine, and vomit line. And it's just like, he is so unrefined by WWE's PG environment that it feels like he can say and do and whatever, anything he wants. It feels like he is above the WWE at this point. And I know that the WWE tries really hard to make it seem like nobody is bigger than the WWE, but right now it feels like Brock Lesnar is. And the fact that he is our current champion makes that championship mean so much more.
Completely agree. And what I love about this, too, the delivery from Lesnar here, he says he conquered The Undertaker, but then after that.
Does it or does it not feel like a shoot style promo, though?
It does a little bit.
It
Definitely.
feels like he is completely done with all this talking crap. He is completely done with listening to people talk about what they're gonna do. He's gonna remind people what he's done and what he knows is going to happen, because he's Brock Lesnar and nobody has ever been able to stop him, so why would it start now?
Exactly. And what I love about what he does here, he says he conquered The Undertaker, but then after that, he says, and then I conquered him, and he gestures towards Triple H.
I love that. The fact that he even went as far as to take a shot at Triple H is to say, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, everybody knows that if you would ask the general majority of the population, they would say that you're the least credible in-ring worker right now standing in this ring. And the most credible one, other than me, of course, this guy over here pointing to Triple H, yeah, I've beaten him on multiple occasions, and he's beaten John Cena. So what does Seth Rollins think that he's going to do that either of those guys haven't?
Yeah, and what I love, too, is he doesn't even reference Triple H or John Cena by name.
He just says him and him.
And I love it because he's in the ring with these guys, and he just doesn't give a damn because he knows how credible he is.
And not only that, but he knows that it comes off like he doesn't even keep track of their names, because if he remembers their names, it's like it's more personal of a relationship, and he doesn't want to have to do the things that he knows he's going to have to do to people that he appreciates and loves.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just things to him. They're not even other people. They're objects. Brock Lesnar sees his opponents as playthings.
He does, and he says he damn sure will conquer Rollins as well. It's almost like saying...
And at that point, he does get cut off by Cena, who cuts easily the weakest promo out of all three. And I say three because I'm including Lesnar in this, but out of all three of those guys.
Let me just say this, because again, everybody knows I always watch Raw week to week on any available stream I can find. Well, people were so engrossed with the tension between Rollins and Lesnar, and really loving what those two were building. I actually saw some people remarking, oh crap, I forgot Cena was a part of this, and complaining about it.
Yep.
Like, that's how great Rollins and Lesnar were doing with their back and forth here. And then Cena, and I'm sorry, like, I hate to join the pack and stuff, but I have to agree with them. I almost wish that Cena would have just stayed silent and just kind of reasserted himself, with more physicality, because we did have a breakdown, which we'll get to here in a second.
And
but
you know what though, I Cena, for what it is worth, his promo, while it was the worst of the group, I don't think it was a bad promo, because he made some good points. He did say, Brock, you don't have to get pinned in order to lose your championship, but you're still going to get pinned to lose your championship. And then he said something about how Seth had pissed off Brock, and he already had pissed off Cena a long time ago, so he and Lesnar were going to team up to take Rollins out of the match, and then Cena was going to beat Brock's ass. And as difficult to believe as that last statement might have been, everything else he said had a varying degrees of credibility.
Yeah. And what I love about this is he throws the contract to Lesnar. He says, you in or you in? And Lesnar signs it. Of course he's not going to back down for anybody. But then Rollins shines yet again.
His promo here was my moment of the night, because he says, Cena, that might be your plan now, but your plans have this tendency of falling apart when you actually try to execute them. He says that you were originally planning on not letting the Authority come back. You said you were planning on the Authority being gone for good, but how did that work out for you? You failed because of me. And then you were planning on, and then he said that was strike one. And then he said about how then he was planning on getting Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback their jobs back. And I love this too, because he said Dolph Ziggler and company. Like, the other two don't even matter. It's just Dolph Ziggler and those other guys. Their jobs back. And then Seth Rollins pinned him to the mat in the middle of this ring, 1, 2, 3. And that's strike two. And then he says about how at the Royal Rumble, it's going to be strike 3. And I love that he even says, because I don't care how I do it, whether it's plan A, and he points to the contract, or plan B, and he grabs his contract, his Money in the Bank briefcase, and then he says, I am going to be walking out of the Royal Rumble as the WWE champion.
And see, that little moment right there, he knows how to work an atmosphere, because when he mentioned strike one, about how you plan to not bring back the Authority, and then he turns to them and he waves them. And he says, hi, guys, how you doing? Like, it's those little things that just make Rollins so good. And I just love the confidence here, that he's not wincing or backing down or showing any trepidation in the face of two very legitimate competitors, to their point. And then Rollins says, look, I belong in this class, and I'm going to prove it at the Royal Rumble. It just got me so jazzed up. But if that got me jazzed up, I went through the roof when this happened, because Rollins goes to attack Cena with the briefcase, but Cena ducks. Then Lesnar comes from behind, and he hits Cena with a
I love this
suplex.
too, because Rollins tries to initiate the contact with Cena, and Cena backs Rollins into a corner, and Lesnar's just like, oh, I gotta get in on this, guys. We're having a fight. I love fighting. Let me get in on this. And he goes over, and he grabs Cena around the waist and throws him for a German. And then he grabs Rollins around the waist, and he throws him for a German. And then Cena basically no-sells the German, and he gets up and grabs Lesnar, and he drops him with an FU, I almost called it an F5, an attitude adjustment, through the table. But then Seth Rollins recovers not quite as quickly as Cena, but Cena is distracted by Triple H, and attacks Cena from behind, and then ends up getting a curb stomp on Cena. But then he's not done, because Lesnar, who is slowly recovering from his trip through the table, he also gets a curb stomp from Rollins.
Yeah, I lost my damn mind for all of this.
It was awesome.
Just seeing Rollins just lay both of those guys
And you
out.
were yelling it, and I really, really was hoping he would do it, but he didn't. I wish Rollins would have posed with the title here.
I wanted it so bad, but Heyman was holding it. And, it just really disheartening, because
The
I feel
protector of the championship.
Yeah, I just feel like that sends such an image and creates, such a moment for Rollins. Not that this wasn't a moment on its own, but that just would have been the icing on the cake.
Yeah, Rollins for GOAT.
Fantastic here. Yeah, definitely. You know what? he might actually win this. I don't know. I'm still so conflicted about this main event. We're gonna have, I'm sure, quite a discussion on preview and predictions. But let's just say this: if Rollins wins that championship, you may get a reaction from me on par with Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble dominance last year, because I am really getting into it. Really,
I for one welcome our new dual-toned overlord.
Yeah. Oh man, just great stuff. But
I think that we are going to share a high spot tonight.
damn freaking right we are, and let's get right into it.